My name is Hannah Cole, and until last month, I believed the woods behind our property were just ordinary, a place full of pine needles, creaking branches, and the occasional deer. Nothing dangerous, nothing unusual, nothing that should make a grown woman afraid to sleep at night. But then, everything changed, and it started with Rex, my 3-year-old German shepherd, my shadow, my guardian, my best friend. It was a cold Thursday evening when it began, the kind of cold that sneaks under your sleeves even when you're standing indoors. I was chopping vegetables in the kitchen when Rex suddenly lifted his head from the living room rug, not casually, not lazily, but sharply, like something invisible had snapped its fingers. His ears pointed toward the back door, his body stiffened. Then he growled, a deep, vibrating growl that didn't sound like my dog at all. It sounded like a warning. "Rex, what's wrong, buddy?" I asked, wiping my hands on a towel. Rex didn't look at me. He was locked onto something outside. Something I couldn't see. Then he walked toward the sliding glass door. Slowly, deliberately, like a soldier approaching enemy territory. I frowned and stepped behind him. The backyard was still. No wind, no movement, nothing except the faint glow of the porch light on the wet grass. But Rex stood there, growling at the tree line. "Honey?" My husband, Evan, walked in behind me. "Why's he acting like that?" "I don't know. He heard something." Evan looked outside and shrugged. "It's probably just a raccoon." But Rex's reaction didn't look like a raccoon. I'd lived with Rex long enough to understand his body language. The difference between curiosity and fear, between alertness and aggression. This was different. This was protective, instinctual, primitive. Rex lifted his nose, sniffed the air twice, then he barked. One sharp, violent bark that made me flinch. Then another, and suddenly the porch light flickered. Once, twice, then went out, leaving the entire yard swallowed in darkness. I froze. Rex didn't. He lunged forward so fast the glass door shook in its frame. Evan grabbed his collar, holding him back. "Whoa, hey, easy!" But Rex fought against him, muscles trembling, teeth bared, hackles raised all the way down his spine. I had seen him protective before, but never like this. "Hannah," Evan said, his voice lower now. "Call the sheriff." I stared at him. "For what?" "There's nothing out there." But Evan didn't take his eyes off the forest. "Exactly," he muttered. "Nothing is making your dog react like that." I swallowed. Then, a sound drifted from the woods. Not footsteps, not rustling leaves, not an animal. It was breathing, slow, heavy, wet, like something was standing just inside the shadows, watching us. Rex went completely silent. Not a bark, not a growl, nothing. He lowered his head, tail stiff, body coiled like a spring. Then the breathing grew louder, closer, and for the first time in years, I felt a pinprick of primal fear in my stomach. Evan whispered, "Hannah, get away from the door." But before I could move, something flashed between the trees, a shape, tall, too tall, broad shoulders, long limbs, head tilted unnaturally to the side, like the bones inside its neck didn't bend the way human bones should. I gasped and stumbled backward. Rex exploded into barking, a furious, panicked warning bark that echoed through the entire house. The shape stepped forward, just one step, but enough for the porch light to flicker back on for half a second. And in that half second, I saw its eyes. Not animal, not human, something else. Something that should not have been standing upright in my backyard. Evan grabbed my wrist. "We're calling the sheriff, now." But before he could pull me away, the creature, the thing, snapped its head toward us, sharp, jerking, unnatural, and then vanished into the darkness as if it were never there at all. Rex pressed his body against the door, teeth gnashing, barking himself hoarse. My hands shook so badly I nearly dropped my phone, because in that moment, I knew the truth. Whatever was in the woods, it wasn't human, and Rex knew it long before we did. Rex didn't calm down for almost a full minute. His barks turned frantic. Not warning barks, not territorial barks, but the kind he only used when he believed someone's life was in danger. Mine. Evan finally dragged him back from the sliding door, using both arms. but Rex kept lunging, nails scraping against the hardwood floor, desperate to get outside. I grabbed Evan's forearm. We need to close the curtains, now." He nodded, breathing hard. His eyes looked different now, focused, calculating, and scared. I yanked the curtains shut, plunging the room into a safer darkness. At least inside this darkness, nothing could stare back. Rex paced in circles, whining now, occasionally snapping his head toward the door, as if the thing was still standing there, inches away. Evan reached for his phone. "I'm calling Sheriff Dalton," my voice shook. "Tell him it wasn't human." Evan didn't argue, he just dialed. While he spoke, I slid my back against the wall and sank to the floor, clutching the hem of my sweater with trembling fingers. I replayed what I saw, that shape, that impossible way it stood, those eyes, like they glowed without any light source, and the breathing, God, that breathing. By the time Evan hung up, my pulse was still hammering in my ears. "He's on his way," Evan said softly. He sounded concerned. Rex finally stopped pacing and pressed his head against my chest, his breathing fast, shaky, like he'd run miles. I wrapped my arms around him. "You protected us," I whispered. "You saw it first." Rex licked my hand once, not playful, not excited, but almost reassuring. Then, thud, a heavy, deliberate thud on the back fence. Rex jerked upright and sprinted toward the sound, claws skidding on the floor. Evan cursed. "That thing is still out there." He grabbed the flashlight from the kitchen drawer, even though we both knew a flashlight wouldn't fix whatever was in those trees. But he still switched it on. Humans cling to any illusion of control when we're scared. He moved toward the back door. I grabbed his wrist again. "Evan, don't, please. We need to see if it's trying to get in." "No, we don't. Dalton is coming." But Evan had that stubborn look, the same one he wore whenever dealing with broken pipes or creaking windows. Except this wasn't a repair problem. This was survival. He stepped closer to the door. Rex blocked him, completely, head lowered, body rigid. A low, guttural growl vibrating through his chest. The kind of growl that meant, "Do not move another inch." Evan froze. Rex held the position, staring directly at the fence, not even blinking. And then we heard it again. Thud. A dragging sound, slow, heavy, unnatural. Like something was pulling itself along the fence with arms too long or joints bent the wrong way. My breath hitched. "Evan," I whispered, "step back." He did. For a moment, the world outside went silent, too silent. Then, something peeked over the fence. A head, much too high for any person to reach. It tilted sideways first, bone-cracking sideways, then slowly rotated to face the house. The porch light flickered again. Rex lunged. He threw himself at the door so hard the glass shuddered. "Jesus Christ!" Evan yelled, yanking him back. But Rex was uncontrollable. He barked with a violence I'd never heard, a full-on, primal, desperate roar. And outside, the thing did not flinch. It just stared, eyes reflecting the faint amber glow of the dying porch light. My throat tightened, because now, with the flickering light, I could see its outline clearly. Its shoulders were wrong, too narrow, too sloped. Its arms hung lower than they should, almost to its knees, and its skin looked stretched, pulled too tight over its bones. Then it smiled, not like a human, not like anything with a soul. The smile jerked upward on one side, too fast, too sharp, almost tearing. I screamed before I even realized I was screaming. Evan grabbed me and pulled me away from the door. Rex kept barking, his whole body shaking with fury. And the thing? It slowly lowered itself behind the fence, vanishing into the dark like it melted out of sight. A second later, a car engine rumbled from the driveway. Sheriff Dalton. Evan bolted for the front door, but Rex didn't follow him. He stayed by the back door, staring at the fence, tail stiff, head low, every muscle ready to explode. Whatever that thing was, it wasn't gone. It was watching, waiting, and Rex knew it. Sheriff Dalton stepped inside before Evan even finished opening the door. He was a tall man in his late 50s, steady eyes, a jaw carved from decades of dealing with small-town emergencies. But when he saw Rex's posture, That calm confidence slipped. Rex wasn't acting like a dog anymore. He was acting like a shield, like a weapon drawn and ready. Dalton lowered his voice. "What's he keyed up on?" Evan swallowed. "Something in the woods. Something not human." Dalton's face shifted. Not disbelief, not mockery, but recognition. Like he'd heard those words before. He walked to the back of the house, stopping a few feet from the sliding door. Rex blocked him instantly, body pressed forward, teeth bared. Dalton held up a hand. "Easy, boy. I'm not going out there." My heartbeat thudded painfully in my chest. "You believe us?" Dalton didn't answer right away. Instead, he leaned slightly, lifting the edge of the curtain just enough to peek outside. Rex growled so violently it shook the room. Dalton froze. Then he lowered the curtain, and when he turned toward us, his eyes looked older. Much older. "Lock every door and window," he said. "Do not step outside under any circumstances. Keep your lights low and stay away from the tree line." I blinked. "That's it? You're not going out there?" He shook his head once. Firm, final. "I won't send any officer into those woods at night." Evan stiffened. "What the hell is out there, Dalton?" The sheriff hesitated, weighing something. Then he sighed. Like a man finally acknowledging a ghost he tried to ignore for years. "For weeks," he whispered, "people living near these woods have been calling in about something watching them, moving through the trees at night, tall, wrong proportions, fast, but not in any way a person should move." My stomach dropped. "You knew," I whispered. "You knew something was out there." "I didn't know," Dalton corrected quietly. "I only suspected." Rex turned sharply toward the door again, a low rumble building in his chest. Dalton stiffened. "He sees it now?" Evan nodded. "Yeah, it's out there." Dalton exhaled shakily. "I need to get back to my car. I'll call for backup, thermal drones, whatever we can get." You're leaving?" My voice cracked. "I'll be parked at the end of your driveway with full lights on. I won't go far. But I can't stay in this house if that thing is the same one people have described. The same thing. As if there were more than one." Dalton stepped toward the front door. Then everything in the house went still. So still that even the air seemed to freeze. Rex lifted his head. His ears shot upward. Every muscle tense so violently I feared he might snap a tendon. Dalton whispered, "What's he doing?" And then we heard it. From the backyard. Not a thud. Not footsteps. But a clicking sound. Soft at first. Then faster. Sharper. Rhythmic. Like bone tapping bone. Or claws tapping wood. Dalton's hand hovered near his. "Holster," Evan whispered. "It's at the deck!" The clicking continued, moving slowly, deliberately, across the wooden boards of our back porch, like it wanted us to hear it, like it wanted us to know it had returned. Rex barked once, a single explosive sound, the kind that meant too close. Dalton cursed under his breath. "I'm calling this in now." He pulled out his radio, and that was when the clicking stopped, dead silent. Then, a distorted voice echoed through the trees, not human, not even close. A mimicked tone, warped and grinding, like a broken speaker trying to imitate speech. "Ha-na." I clamped a hand over my mouth to stop the scream tearing through my throat. Dalton's eyes went wide. Evan shouted, "Get away from the door!" But Rex didn't move. He stayed planted in front of the glass, barking, snarling, warning, his entire body vibrating with a level of rage I didn't know he had. And then, like it had been waiting for the perfect moment, the thing slammed its weight against the sliding door. Boom! The entire house shook. The glass bowed inward, warping under the impact. I screamed. Dalton drew his weapon. Rex launched himself forward, teeth smashing against the glass, barking with a murderous fury. Whatever was on the other side, it wanted in. The creature hit the door again. Boom! A sickening thud that made the frame crack at the top. Dalton shouted, "Everyone back! Now!" But before we could move, the porch light flickered again. Once, twice. Then it illuminated the silhouette standing inches from the door, tall, bent, arms dragging, head tilted, skin stretched thin, and those eyes, reflecting the light like a predator's. It lifted one hand, long, wrong fingers, and dragged them slowly down the glass, leaving streaks behind. Rex lunged harder, snarling with the kind of desperation burned into instinct. Dalton pulled me behind him. Evan grabbed a heavy lamp, ready to swing. The creature pressed its face closer and whispered through the glass, "Hannah, come out." I stopped breathing entirely, because whatever that thing was, it knew my name, and it wanted me. The creature's breath fogged the glass, cold, wet, rot-scented. Rex's snarls reached a pitch I had never heard before. A raw, primal, ancient sound, like every instinct inside him, was screaming the same command. Do not let this thing inside. Dalton steadied his gun, but the fear in his eyes betrayed him. He wasn't aiming at a suspect. He was aiming at something older, darker, wrong. The creature dragged its long fingers across the door again, the scraping sound vibrating straight into my bones. "Hannah," it whispered, voice twisting into something almost human. "Come home." My heart stopped. Home? I didn't even know what that meant. Evan stepped between me and the door, gripping the lamp like a weapon. "You're not taking her," he said through gritted teeth. The creature paused. Its head jerked toward Evan, almost curious. Then it bared its teeth, a jagged, unnatural smile stretching too far. Dalton shouted, "Back away now!" But before he could fire, the creature slammed into the door again. Boom! Glass cracked at the edges. Rex lunged so violently the door trembled in its track. "Hold him!" Dalton yelled, but Rex tore free, his entire body crashing against the door with everything he had. So much force that the already fractured glass split further. That was when it happened. Something inside Rex snapped, not physically, but instinctually. He stopped barking. He went silent, completely silent. His tail lowered, his body stiffened. He pressed his nose against the door, breathing in the creature's scent. Then he turned sharply toward me and whimpered, a soft, broken whimper, as if begging me, pleading with me, to move, to hide, to survive. Dalton whispered, "He's warning her. It's after her specifically." My blood ran cold. Why? Why me? But deep down, beneath the fear, beneath the panic, a memory flickered. A night months ago. A strange sound in the woods. Rex pushing his body against my legs, blocking me from going outside. A growl I didn't understand at the time. He knew. Even then, the creature shifted, its spine cracking as it leaned closer to the shattered door, and then, in one horrific movement, it reared back for a final slam. Dalton fired. The gunshot thundered through the house. The creature jolted, not from pain, but from surprise. Then it screeched, a high, unnatural shriek that rattled every window in the house. It leapt backward off the porch, and the forest swallowed it whole. Dalton grabbed my arm. "Move! Everyone to the front of the house!" But Rex didn't move. He stood facing the door, ears pinned back, chest heaving. Not in fear, not in aggression, but in sorrow. I knelt beside him. "Rex, what is it? What do you know?" He looked at me, eyes wide, frightened, and then nudged my stomach gently with his nose. Not once, twice. My breath caught. "Hannah?" Evan asked behind me. "What's wrong?" I swallowed hard. My voice cracked. "I'm late." Evan blinked. "What?" "I'm late," I repeated, pressing a shaking hand to my abdomen. "I didn't tell you because I wasn't sure, but—" Rex knew. He knew before I did. A silence fell. Heavy, suffocating, unbelievable. Dalton stared at the woods, jaw tight. "Creatures like that are attracted to life," he said quietly. "New life, unborn life." My stomach flipped. The creature wasn't calling me home. It was calling my child. Evan's face drained of color. "You're telling me that thing was here for our baby?" Dalton didn't speak. He didn't have to. Rex pressed his head against my stomach again, whining softly, protectively, desperately. He had known for weeks. Every growl, every bark. Every night, he slept beside our bed instead of at the foot of it. He wasn't just guarding the house. He was guarding the life inside me. Dalton finally spoke, voice firm, steady, and grim. "I'll call for a full search, thermal drones, floodlights. We're going to sweep this entire forest until we know that thing is gone. Evan wrapped his arms around me, as if shielding both me and the life hidden beneath my ribs. But Rex... Rex didn't look away from the trees, not once, not for a second, because he knew what none of us wanted to say out loud. That thing wasn't gone. It wasn't retreating. It was waiting, lurking in the shadows, watching, planning, and Rex, my guardian, my warrior, my first protector, would die before letting it touch me or my child. That night, I slept on the living room floor with Rex pressed against my side, his body warm, tense, unwavering. He didn't close his eyes once, and neither did I. Because the truth was now undeniable. Rex didn't just save our lives. He sensed the danger long before it came. He sensed the life growing inside me. And the monster, Ashuntingit, and I knew, with a certainty that cut through the fear, the next time that creature returned, Rex would be ready,